Your body is performing miracles right now.
Hey there!
I'm Corentin, but you can call me Corentin the Cherry. Yeah, my mom thought it was funny. Today, I'm setting off on an epic adventure through the human body. Care to join me? As you sit there, listening to these words, an intricate system of organs is working tirelessly, breaking down your last meal into microscopic nutrients that fuel every cell in your body. This incredible process happens without you even thinking about it. Welcome to the fascinating world of digestion, a journey that transforms the food on your plate into the energy that powers your life. Have you ever wondered what happens to that slice of pizza or that small cherry after you swallow it? Or how your body turns a smoothie into fuel for your morning run? The answers lie in an amazing biological factory that's operating inside you right now. Join me as I embark on an extraordinary journey through your digestive system, a complex network of organs that work in perfect harmony to keep you alive and thriving every day you eat. But have you ever thought about what happens next? Your digestive system is like a superhighway for food, complete with checkpoints, processing plants, and waste management facilities. In the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a wild ride from your mouth to, well, you know where. The mouth. It all starts when you're about to take a bite of your favorite food. As soon as that delicious food enters your mouth, the digestive process kicks off. Your mouth is like the grand old entrance for food, and it's got some pretty cool tricks up its sleeve. First up, you've got your teeth. These aren't just for smiling. They're your body's own food processors. As you chew, your teeth break down food into smaller pieces, increasing the surface area for digestive enzymes to work their magic later on. While you're chewing, your salivary glands jump into action as well. They release saliva, which does way more than just make your mouth watery. Saliva contains enzymes that start breaking down carbohydrates right there in your mouth. And let's not forget about your tongue. This muscular organ isn't just for tasting. It helps mix food with saliva and forms it into a ball called a bolus. Now that your food is nicely chewed and mixed with saliva, it's ready for the next leg of its journey. Let's follow that tasty bolus as it leaves the mouth and heads south. The pharynx and the esophagus. All right, so you've said goodbye to your food as it leaves the mouth. But where does it go next? Next, it moves to the pharynx, a fancy word for your throat. Here, a special flap called the epiglottis makes sure it goes down the right path and not into the larynx, which leads to your lungs. Safety first. Thanks, epiglottis. Now, I'm heading down the esophagus, the food superhighway of your body. The esophagus is a muscular tube about 25 centimeters long in adults. When you swallow, a series of coordinated muscle contractions called peristalsis begins. Imagine a wave at a sports stadium, where fans stand up and sit down in sequence. That's kind of how peristalsis works, creating wave-like contractions that push food down the esophagus. Now you might be wondering, what stops the food from going back up? Great question. At the top of the esophagus, you have a special ring of muscle called the upper esophageal sphincter. This little gatekeeper opens to let me in and then closes to prevent me from coming back up. But that's not all. There's another sphincter at the bottom of the esophagus where it meets the stomach. This lower esophageal sphincter is super important because it prevents stomach acid from backing up into the esophagus. When it's working properly, it helps you avoid that uncomfortable feeling you know as heartburn. Here's a fun fact. The esophagus can move food in both directions. That's right. It's the reason you can burp and, unfortunately, vomit when you're sick. But most of the time, it's happily sending your food on a one-way trip to the stomach. Speaking of the stomach, that's exactly where I'm heading next. The stomach? This J-shaped organ is like a biological food processor, and let me tell you, it's got some impressive features. First off, let's talk about size. When empty, your stomach is about the size of your fist. But don't let that fool you. This organ can stretch to hold up to 4 liters of food and liquid. Now, when food or I enter the stomach, it triggers the release of gastric juices. These juices contain hydrochloric acid. Yep, you heard that right. Acid. The acid is so strong it could eat through a tablecloth. But don't worry, your stomach has a special lining to protect itself. The stomach walls have 3 layers of powerful muscles. These muscles contract and relax in a churning motion, mixing the food with the gastric juices. But the stomach isn't just about breaking down food. It also produces a substance called intrinsic factor, which is crucial for absorbing vitamin B12 later in the digestive process. The stomach usually holds onto food for about 2-4 hours, depending on what you've eaten. During this time, it's breaking down proteins, killing harmful bacteria, and preparing the chyme for the next stage of digestion. Now that your food has been churned, mixed, and partially broken down in the stomach, it's ready to move on to the real nutrient absorption superhero of your digestive system. The small intestine. Welcome to the small intestine, the unsung hero of your digestive system. Don't let the name fool you. While it's called small, this organ is actually about 20 feet long in adults. If we were to spread it out, it would cover a tennis court. But nature, being the clever designer it is, has it all neatly coiled up in your abdomen. The small intestine is where the real magic of digestion happens. It's divided into 3 parts: the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Each section plays a crucial role in breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. Let's start with the duodenum. This is where your chyme from the stomach meets with bile from the gallbladder and digestive enzymes from the pancreas. Moving along to the jejunum and ileum. This is where most of your nutrient absorption takes place. The inner lining of the small intestine is covered in millions of tiny finger-like projections called villi. And if that wasn't enough surface area, each villus is covered with even tinier projections called microvilli. This design gives the small intestine a massive surface area, about the size of a tennis court, perfect for absorbing nutrients. These villi and microvilli are packed with blood vessels. As the broken down nutrients pass by, they're absorbed through the walls of the small intestine and into the bloodstream. But the small intestine isn't just about absorption. It also produces its own digestive enzymes and hormones that help regulate the digestive process. Plus, it has its own nervous system, often called the second brain, which helps coordinate all these complex activities. Now that food or I have been broken down into its simplest components and most of the nutrients have been absorbed, you might be wondering what happens to the leftovers. Well, that's where our next stop comes in: the large intestine. The large intestine. This organ is like the body's own recycling and waste management plant. The large intestine is about 5 feet long and wraps around the small intestine like a frame. Its main job is to absorb water from the leftover indigestible food matter and turn it into solid waste, aka poop. But there's a lot more going on in this part of town. First off, the large intestine is home to trillions of bacteria, collectively known as the gut microbiome. These little guys are like helpful roommates. They help break down any remaining nutrients, produce some vitamins like vitamin K, and even play a role in our immune system. As the waste moves through the large intestine, it passes through several sections: the cecum, the ascending colon, the transverse colon, the descending colon, and finally, the sigmoid colon. Each section plays a part in absorbing water and compacting the waste. The large intestine also has some pretty cool features to move things along. It uses a type of movement called haustral churning. The walls of the colon contract, creating bulges called haustra, which slowly push the waste towards the rectum. It's like a slow-motion wave pool for your poop. Another interesting fact: the large intestine is really good at absorbing water. It can absorb up to 5 liters of water per day. This is crucial for maintaining your body's water balance and preventing dehydration. Lastly, let's talk about the rectum and anus. The rectum acts as a temporary storage facility for feces, and when it's full, it sends signals to our brain that it's time to go. The anus, with its internal and external sphincters, controls the final exit. It's like the bouncer at the end of the digestive nightclub. And there you have it. We've traveled the entire length of the digestive system, But our journey isn't quite over yet. Let's take a moment to appreciate some of the supporting actors in this digestive drama. Liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. These guys might not be in the spotlight, but trust me, without them, the whole digestive show would fall apart. Let's start with the liver, the largest internal organ in our body. This powerhouse does so much more than just help with digestion. But when it comes to digestion, the liver's star role is producing bile. Bile is a greenish-yellow fluid that acts like a detergent, helping to break down and absorb fats. But here's the cool part. The liver doesn't store the bile it produces. That's where your next supporting actor comes in. The gallbladder. The gallbladder is like a small storage tank for bile. When you eat fatty foods, the gallbladder contracts and releases bile into the small intestine through the bile duct. Now, let's talk about the pancreas. This organ is a multitasker. It's part of both the digestive system and the endocrine system. For digestion, the pancreas produces a cocktail of enzymes that help break down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. These enzymes are released into the small intestine, where they join the digestive party. But that's not all. The pancreas also produces important hormones like insulin and glucagon, which help regulate our blood sugar levels. Together, these supporting organs ensure that your digestive system runs smoothly. They're like the backstage crew in a theater production. You might not see them, but without them, the show couldn't go on. And there you have it, the incredible journey of digestion, from first bite to final flush. Pretty amazing stuff, right? So, if you enjoyed this deep dive into digestion, why not join me for future adventures? Hit that subscribe button right now to stay up to date with all our fascinating body science videos. And don't forget to ring that bell icon. That way, you'll never miss a new episode. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you learned today that blew your mind? Leave your answer in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions for other topics you'd like us to cover, let us know. Until next time, keep fueling your body with good food. And remember, digestion is a journey, one that you're on right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.